the biggest problem, in my opinion, just kind of looking at this situation, is that you had a bunch of people sold a product that's not really even viable. There's not a product,
Yeah, how
and
did
then
you how can you say you sold a product if the product wasn't delivered?
and the thing is, it's also false marketing. Like, there's a lot of things done wrong, right? Because he went on to podcasts and shows saying, "Oh, the game's great," but there's obviously never been a game built. So he lied with marketing this product, and then also he didn't come forth and be transparent. So, I mean, the legal ramification. The problem is, right? And I'm not somebody for regulation, but I think with the crypto market space,
The
like I believe
regulations already exist, Paul. They could be prosecuted just like SBF right now.
I feel like though crypto is such a gray space because this is not like the first scam like this, right? Because
Yeah, but the
crypto,
motherfuckers went to jail.
yeah, but that's what should happen with Logan Paul, Crypto King, and Eddie. I'm not really an orphan Ibanez because it's like these people should be held responsible. There should be
Yeah.
no stardom that puts them above other people. Listen, if SBF can be sent to mommy's basement on house arrest, I think at the very least,
Do you
Logan
know what his
Paul,
bail was?
it was like in the millions, right? Like,
$250 million bail.
yeah, I think if someone's gonna like go to jail eventually, like SBF will, these guys need to face the consequences of their actions. They lied to their consumers. They lied to they lied to everyone involved. They were stabbing each other in the back. They had insider training. Like, there's just so much inherently wrong, not just legally but morally as well with this group. That I mean, they all deserve each other. I mean that. I mean, they all honestly deserve each other. And if anyone considers themselves a fan of Logan Paul after this, you are a fucking moron. I think sometimes I like to separate the art from the artist, right? Like, I can acknowledge when someone's entertaining, even though if they're a scumbag, but I think it's a whole different level, right? If you're just destroying people's lives and taking joy in that.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, I don't know if they're really taking the joy in destroying the people's lives, but they were taking the
They're
joy
taking
in
the
this pump
paycheck.
and dump scheme in
Yeah.
the pump and dump scheme that allows them to buy an extra Ferrari or whatever. And that's where they're getting the joy from. Because they think that there's this never ending well of money that they could just get from anywhere and then call themselves businessmen. Unlike somebody like Mr. Beast, who creates his revenue streams, he creates products, he creates useful things. I mean, the Mr. Beast burger is probably not a very useful thing from a health perspective, but at least when somebody forks over their $8, a hamburger and
They get
fries comes
something.
back.
They get something.
Right.
They don't get some mythical shit that does not exist. Like, the thing is, you had people invest thousands into this, hundreds of thousands with some of these idiots, and they lost everything. And I know, like, I shouldn't be shaming the victims, but at some point, when you're writing that check or making that deposit, how in the fuck do you how does that pass the fucking brain check? Like,
Right.
yeah, I haven't seen a proof of product. I haven't seen the game. I haven't seen an alpha, a beta, anything from it. Like, nothing from it. But here's hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm a fucking idiot. Take my money. Like, I don't feel much
You
sympathy.
stupid.
I don't feel that much sympathy because I feel like, yeah, they're victims. Yeah, Logan Paul and that whole team definitely manipulated their audience and definitely used them and abused them. And they should face the consequences for those actions. But at the same time, I look at the motherfucker writing the check. Like, I don't write a check to some shit I have never seen before. That'd be like me, right? Buying a car and never going to see it in person.
Never test driving it.
Like, that, it's fucking stupid. Like,
Yep.
and it just, we're in a society where I feel like a lot of this, like, I can't even say newer generation, because a lot of these old fucks made the same mistake. It's just, I don't know. People just don't think through with investments. They just, instead of making smart investments like Rick Allen is saying, right, which we both, I think
Right.
relatively agree with,
Right.
we're just going to go for the quick fucking buck and get burnt. Right?
Right.
Like, so instead of investing that hundreds of thousands, like 500,000, one of them said $500,000, by the way.
Yeah, one of them, yeah.
You could have invested that into a secure market, and maybe you don't make 100 million, but you could make a few million off that type of investment. Like that.
I mean,
it's
even
just
if you
so
make 50,000,
so fucking dumb. I don't feel sorrow for them.
Well, the thing is, the SEC is investigating and putting together, prosecution against SBF. So the SEC does have some sort of jurisdiction. There we go. It did have some sort of jurisdiction. But I think that after this, you're going to see Congress get involved to close up some more of the loopholes. And again, I know that a lot of you guys are conservatives and you want smaller government, but you have, fucking Ibanez and the crypto king to thank, people like them to thank for the growth of the government. Because every single time somebody tries to step into some morally ambiguous, morally reprehensible, but legally ambiguous place, then they got to create a new law to satisfy people's sensibilities. People shouldn't be able to steal money from people like this. We need a new law.
See, I'll push back a bit on that. This is a completely new market. There's a lot of people.
It's the principle. It's the principle.
I get what you're saying, but the reason why there has to be regulations included because there is really not much on record because this is a new industry altogether. Honestly, most people couldn't even tell you what the fuck a Bitcoin is or how the fuck it's manufactured or how that happened. Because crypto, to a lot of people, they just look at it as dollar signs and don't do any of the fucking research to know what they're investing in.
Most people don't know what an overhead press is either.
No, I mean, facts. But I think when it kind of comes down to it, it's just you got to make sure when you're making an investment, you got to have a proof of product or you got to know what you're getting into. And if you don't, talk to a reputable financial advisor because I'm not sitting here saying I know every single fucking thing.
And it's not our job to know everything because we don't have the brain power to be experts on everything.
No, but if I don't know something, I'm going to get advice from an expert in that field. And that's what people, I feel like they're too proud to admit they don't know something. So instead of checking it out, making sure this makes sense, no, I'm good. I'm just going to send that money. Legitimately, if someone I knew gave this project $500,000, I would slap the shit out of them. I mean that. Legitimately.
Rick Allen makes an interesting comment here. I don't know about useful. Let's not pretend Mr. Beast is making brilliant content. The majority of videos are pretty dumb and low IQ, but that's what gets hit sometimes. So here's the difference. Here's the difference. Here's the difference, Rick. Mr. Beast is not misrepresenting or intentionally or unintentionally misrepresenting what it is. He puts it out on YouTube and he lets you make the decision on whether you are entertained or not. When he creates these other businesses, he is letting the market determine whether or not these businesses should exist, but he's also coming to market with the actual product, whatever it is. You might not think it's useful. I've got no use for it, right? He does a lot of philanthropy for other YouTubers, other people. He gives away a lot of money and all these things. I think that's admirable. But yes, his videos are not, the most useful, but they're not meant to be, and they never claim to be. And that's the difference between him and the Pulse.
Well, and the one thing I'll say this is, I think let's not belittle people that actually do have some I'm sorry for him to create this empire. That takes somebody of some type of intelligence, right? Somebody that has their shit put together because that's not easy. We've had a lot of successful content creators go bankrupt. I mean, or just fizzle out. And I think that I agree. I'm not saying his videos, Alan, are my cup of tea. They're not.
I've never watched a Mr. Beast video.
I watched one. It wasn't really my cup of tea. But I think what the thing here is I got to respect is in his other business ventures, he does things by the book, and how he treats people is why people will always remember him. And
he pays a living wage to everybody he hires too.
If Logan Paul treated people like Mr. Beast did, and I mean that he'd be far richer. Not just in the soul that he doesn't have, but in wealth as well. Because one of the problems...
He could have been Mr. Beast when you think about it. That's a good point. If he's not taking pictures of people who committed suicide...
Yeah.
Remember, his popularity back then, that's how he ended up with the scandal in the first place. He was popular enough at the time. Could you imagine what his popularity would have been if he didn't do that?
Oh,
He would have been what Mr. Beast is today.
Absolutely.